Hello everyone, this is Beastly Eel here, and in today's episode we're going to be talking about the latest episode of the Book of Boba Fett. I believe this is episode 5. So, one, there are spoilers ahead, so obviously if you haven't seen it yet, please pause the video and watch the episode and then come and see what you think. So, now that you're back, um, this episode was much different than all the others, mostly due to the fact that Boba Fett's not in the episode. And the reason why I'm laughing is because I honestly thought this was the best episode so far of the Book of Boba Fett, and Boba Fett was nowhere in the episode at all. Um, so let that be a thought for you for a little bit. But anyway, let's get to the point. So this is basically a extended trailer for the new season of The Mandalorian, because we find the Mandalorian taking a bounty to go after some head honcho, and to do so, he obviously does his normal stuff where he's like, "Oh, I can bring you in cold, or I can bring you in warm, I could bring you in cold." And the guy takes cold, obviously thinking he could defeat the Mandalorian. But we see him fight with the dark saber, and he is atrocious with it. He cuts himself in the leg. I mean, he does do a lot of damage to everybody else around him, but he also does it to himself, which is its own problem. That being said, he does show some skill with it for the most part, but it seems to be hard for him to utilize and use properly. And this is just a short little window we see this in. So anyway, after he completes that bounty, he starts looking for his clan again, I guess you'd say. His religious cult is another way you could say it. But anyway, so he goes looking and he finds the weapons maker and armor woman from the first season, and the big, I don't want to say muscle guy because we don't actually see him, but the big bulking armor guy, the two Mandalorians. And so they're talking, they see the dark saber, they talk about it some more, they talk about the history of it and how Bo-Katan, because she was given to her, she screwed everything up, and the world pretty much got crashed down because she didn't earn it in combat. He earned it in combat, so it's rightfully his now. Um, and this goes on for a little bit. They talk a little bit about history and blah, 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 blah. And they talk about how the Darksaber was from a Mandalorian who was also a Jedi. And then the big guy goes, "You know what? You don't deserve it." And they start fighting for it. That being said, I do want to say this. He did ask permission first, and Mando was like, "Sure." So fighting, Mando still sucks with the Darksaber, significantly so. But he beats the guy in combat, even after the guy takes the Darksaber away from him. And right before he does the final killing blow, the leader stops them from doing it. So she starts training him with the Darksaber. He's slowly getting better, and she's explaining to him that your body's strong enough to use it, but your mind isn't, and you're going to have to really understand that before you're able to use the Darksaber properly. So he's not quite sure what she's talking about. She's not really clear, and she also doesn't give him a lot of information. That being said, in the middle of it, or at the end of it, I should say, um, they talk to each other and they're asking, "Have you ever removed your helmet?" And the hulking guy is like, "No." And then she asks Mando, and he eventually says yes. So she says he's no longer Mandalorian. So she explains what he has to do, and it's on Mandalore, and he's like, "Well, we don't have control of that planet anymore because this is the way." Okay. So she turns his spear into armor for the foundlings, but also makes something for Gorgo. Gordo? Gorgo. Gorgo. To give to him. So now he's going to go hunting for Gorgo, and then try to figure out what's next. So he takes a shuttle ship to Tatooine, and he is he goes to see his mechanic friend. I use friend very loosely because she's claiming she has a ship for him, and when he gets there, it's in pieces, and he's not thrilled. So she explains that they can work on it together, and he does so. So anyway, they build this fantastic ship. Um, it looks like crap, I will say that, but apparently it's super fast, and it looks it. So he test flies it, and he gets pulled over by the Empire. I mean, sorry, the Republic, and we see the same guy from season two, and he's asking him questions. He's like, no, I gotta go down and get my information. Why don't we pull over and talk? Sure. And zooms off, so they don't catch him. So he lands back down, and he's all excited, and he's telling her that, the ship is great. And she goes, yeah, some woman came looking for you. Some woman. Yeah, but I locked her out and she's outside, so she can't come back in. And it turns out to be the assassin. Um, and she comes out and she's sitting there going, hi, Mando. And he's all excited to see her. And she says, I have a job for you. And he goes, well, what? And so she's explaining that it's for Boba Fett, and he goes, "I'll do it for free, but I have to go see somebody first." So that's how the episode ends. So I don't know. I'm assuming one of two things. The next episode is going to be him finding Gorgo, or it's him returning from that mission, and we don't see it until the new season of The Mandalorian, which would suck, in my opinion. Or he's about to leave, but then gets bombarded and can't leave for whatever reason, whether his ship doesn't work or whatever, and so he helps Boba Fett out while he's waiting for his ship to be fixed. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I'm hoping that's what happens, I should say. But yeah, it's sad that the best episode of the series has been the only episode without Boba Fett. So it's definitely going to be interesting how this goes, but definitely excited to see The Mandalorian. Also kind of depressed that we have to wait so long for the newest season of The Mandalorian. So, you know, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys agree with me? Did you like this episode? Because I actually loved this episode, but it also made me hate the series. I think this was the worst thing they could have done because, and hear me out, because it made me not like the series as a whole. Like it was starting to get better for me, and then they didn't have Boba Fett in this episode, and I was like, oh my God, this is great. And then I was like, oh, that's right, it's Boba Fett's show. That sucks. Um, but yeah, I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I mean, you obviously probably have something different than me. But as always, if you like the content you see, please like and subscribe below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a good night.